Libra, my dear cosmic seeker, you didn't stumble upon this video by accident. You were drawn here because November 13th is no ordinary day, and what's unfolding for you right now is nothing short of destiny. This reading is not just another horoscope. It's a divine appointment, a spiritual crossroads where an unexpected meeting may soon change everything for you. I'm here to help you recognize that moment when it arrives and step boldly through the doors it unlocks. Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, where we don't just interpret cards, we translate the language of the universe. We explore signs, synchronicities, spiritual guidance, and yes, those quiet whispers from above that so often arrive just in time. If you've been asking for clarity, for breakthrough, for a sign, this is it. And I don't say that lightly. Today, the energy of November 13th is glowing with transformative potential. In tarot, 13 corresponds with the death card, a symbol not of physical loss, but of spiritual rebirth, renewal, and resurrection. This is a day where old timelines collapse and new ones burst open. If it feels like everything in your life is shifting, it's because it is. And more importantly, you're ready for it now. This energy comes with the presence of major cards like the World, the Empress, Justice, and 10 of Pentacles, a lineup that doesn't whisper change, it declares it. We're talking about multiple life paths opening at once in your finances, relationships, reputation, and spiritual purpose. But none of this will matter unless you're willing to listen and respond. Before we dive deeper, allow me to pause and say something from my heart. Thank you. Thank you for your presence here, for your time, your spirit, and your trust. Every like, every comment, every time you share or subscribe, you're not just supporting this channel. You're becoming part of a community built on resonance, truth, healing, and alignment. You help these messages reach souls who need them. And I am deeply grateful for that. Now, Libra, I want to ask you something. What do you think drew you here today? Was it curiosity? Coincidence? Or something deeper, something your soul recognized before your mind could name it? If this message already resonates with you, I invite you to comment below right now. I am ready to step through the doors meant for me. Let this be your affirmation, your energetic handshake with the universe to say yes to what's unfolding. Because trust me, you will want to stay with me until the very end of this reading. What the universe is about to reveal is unlike anything you've seen before. This is more than information. This is preparation. This is alignment. This is your moment. So take a deep breath. Allow your spirit to expand. And let's begin. Sometimes, life whispers before it roars. And if you've made it here, Libra, then you are likely already sensing something, a soft, unspoken pull toward a moment not yet visible, but undeniably real. What's unfolding for you right now is not something you can see with your eyes, it's something your soul feels first. This next part of your journey is already forming behind the veil, slowly coming into focus as destiny aligns itself around you. It may begin with a simple encounter, a casual message, or a seemingly ordinary conversation, but make no mistake, it is anything but ordinary. This is a doorway you didn't expect to find, yet it has always been written into your path. The tarot confirms this sacred turning point with a powerful arrangement: the World, the Empress, Justice, and 10 of Pentacles. These are not cards of chance, they are cards of completion, alignment, birth, legacy, and divine timing. The World marks the end of a long chapter, the closing of a cycle that may have required more of you than you realized. It speaks to a sense of arrival, of coming full circle, not in defeat, but in quiet triumph. The Empress then follows as a creative force, asking not just what you will receive in this new phase, but what you are now capable of creating. Your ideas, your visions, your presence, they are now fertile ground. Justice reminds you that everything being brought to you has been weighed and measured. Not in a cold or punitive way, but with the compassionate balance of cosmic fairness. You are not being handed a gift. You are being returned something that was always yours. And finally, 10 of Pentacles confirms the material manifestation of this promised wealth. Yes, but more than money, legacy, inheritance, a name, a home, or a foundation that lasts. From an astrological lens, the cosmic movements on November 13th bring with them themes of catalytic partnership. With Libra's natural rulership of Venus, planet of harmony, relationship, and value, now being influenced by dynamic Aries and steadfast Capricorn, we see the spark of alignment with someone who may not fit the mold, but fits the calling. An unexpected partner. Perhaps someone you overlooked before, or someone new who appears almost too normal to be a turning point, but they are. This person is not here to rescue you. They are here to mirror you. They reflect a part of your purpose that only awakens when you say yes to co-creation. That is why it may feel subtle at first, but the impact will echo long after. You may find yourself at the center of a trio, 3 energies coming together in a sacred geometry that unlocks greater meaning. You are the center point, Libra. The one who holds the rhythm, who senses the emotional pulse, who brings grace to the structure. You may not have realized it yet, but you've been preparing for this moment in ways that no resume or plan could ever contain. This isn't just an offer. It's a mission. And in the quiet of reflection, you may begin to recognize the fingerprint of grace here. Maybe you remember how often you asked for direction when none came. Maybe you recall nights when your heart longed for something more, not louder, but deeper. And now, without ceremony or trumpet, the door begins to open. There's a truth I've come to know through years of guiding others through thresholds like these. When the timing is divine, the packaging is often simple. God rarely wraps miracles in gold foil. Sometimes, He delivers them through ordinary faces, everyday rooms, and unplanned invitations. And the only thing you need to do is listen. So pause. Notice. Open. And when the invitation comes, not just in the form of opportunity, but in the quiet nudge to say yes, I hope you'll remember this moment. Not because I said it, but because you felt it. This was always yours. There are moments when everything feels like it's shifting at once, and Libra, this may be one of those rare seasons where abundance doesn't just trickle in. It floods. You may not see the signs clearly yet, but beneath the surface, the energy has been building. Imagine it like a well, not a dry one, but one that's been sealed, waiting for divine timing to burst open. That well holds the flow of resources, recognition, and reward that have been stored for you over many cycles, perhaps even lifetimes. And now, something has cracked open. The seal is lifting. The cards supporting this message, King of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, and Justice, are not just speaking of wealth in the ordinary sense. These are archetypes of grounded abundance, authority with integrity, and wealth that is earned through inner alignment, not manipulation. The King and Queen together represent a powerful union of manifestation energy, the ability to generate wealth, yes, but more importantly, the maturity to sustain it. And with justice standing beside them, it becomes clear, what's coming is rightfully yours. Not a handout. Not luck. But a return. A harvest from the seeds you may have planted in dry seasons when no one was watching, and you kept going anyway. From a numerological standpoint, this season carries sacred vibrations. The number 1 reminds us that we are standing at a beginning, a pure starting point untouched by past mistakes. The number 3 speaks to Trinity, creation, and alignment between your thoughts, words, and actions. And the number 13, often misunderstood, is not a warning but a blessing in disguise, the number of transformation, of breaking through the old so that the new can finally root. Together, these numbers suggest that this is not just a financial shift, but a rebirth of your relationship with value itself, your worth, your time, your gifts, your contribution. What makes this even more profound is that the very blockages you faced in the past weren't failures, they were timing gates. The law of attraction is often misunderstood as instant gratification. But real alignment waits until your internal frequency can sustain the external blessing. You weren't being denied. You were being prepared. And now, the moment you allow yourself to receive without guilt, hesitation, or self-doubt, that's when the floodgates open. Many people ask me, how will I know it's the right opportunity? My answer is always, you won't always know it with your mind. But you'll feel it. That gentle pull. That quiet sense that something is too meaningful to ignore. Still, it's okay to feel fear. Even the most beautiful breakthroughs can stir the deepest uncertainties. That's part of growth. What matters most is this: don't let fear negotiate the terms of your expansion. You know, I once heard a woman share that after experiencing bankruptcy, she began each day with a quiet moment of prayer. No grand declarations, just a whispered psalm before sunrise. She didn't know when or how things would change. But she believed they would. And within 3 weeks, she received a contract offer that transformed her entire life. Not because she chased it, but because she made space for it. She became someone who could hold the blessing. So let me ask you, Libra, have you ever turned down an opportunity not because it wasn't right, but because you didn't feel ready? And more importantly, what if the second chance you've been praying for is circling back around now? If this message is stirring something inside you, I invite you to speak it into being. Comment below, I'm ready to receive what was always mine. Let this be more than words. Let it be a declaration. A soft opening of your hands. Because what's coming isn't random. It's response. And this time you are ready. It's often in the moments right before the breakthrough that fear speaks the loudest. And for you, Libra, fear may not come as panic or chaos, it may arrive in quiet, subtle ways. A hesitation. A second guess. A soft voice whispering, what if I'm not ready? That's what the energy of the 9 of Wands and 8 of Swords reveals. One shows the tired warrior, still standing, still holding on though battered by past battles. The other shows someone bound, not by actual chains, but by their thoughts. By doubt. By the illusion that they are somehow not enough. But here's the truth, and it's one I've seen over and over again in my years guiding others through transformation. Your fear is not a sign to stop, it's a sign that you're standing at the edge of something real. Growth never feels like comfort. It feels like expansion. And expansion always stretches you. You may be wondering why this opportunity, this door, this divine timing is showing up now. Especially when you feel tired. Especially when you're still healing. But timing doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for willingness. The universe knows exactly where you are, and it doesn't make mistakes. The blessing doesn't wait for you to become someone else. It waits for you to recognize that you've already become the version of you that's ready to receive. This is where self-help work and soul alignment meet, in the moment you acknowledge that fear is not the enemy. Fear is just a byproduct of caring deeply about what's next. And yes, fear is clever. It will wear the mask of logic, responsibility, and even wisdom. But underneath, it's often just uncertainty in disguise. You don't need to eliminate it. You simply need to move forward anyway. I've sat across from people who've turned away life-changing opportunities because of one hidden thought: I don't deserve this yet. Not because they weren't capable, but because they were carrying the weight of old wounds, old stories, or past failures. But what if none of that was meant to disqualify you? What if it was meant to prepare you? There's a line I often come back to when working with energy shifts like this: feeling like you're not ready is often the very sign that you are. Think about it. If you felt completely comfortable, you'd likely be repeating an old pattern. But this feels new. And new always feels a little shaky at first. Even in the most chaotic seasons, I've witnessed the quiet power of people who said yes when they were scared. A woman once told me how she kept feeling drawn to start a small service-based business. Nothing huge, just something heart-led. But every time she sat down to begin, fear froze her. Until one day, she simply whispered, "I'm ready," under her breath. She told me that was the moment the tension started to break. It didn't happen overnight, but it began with a choice, a decision to stop negotiating with fear. Libra, if you've ever talked yourself out of something beautiful because you didn't feel ready enough, you're not alone. But you also don't have to stay there. You're allowed to outgrow the cage of overthinking. You're allowed to walk forward even if your knees shake. You're allowed to trust the timing, especially when it scares you. So let this be your moment of reclamation. Breathe. Place your hand on your heart. And say softly, "I'm not trapped. I'm transforming." And if that truth resonates with you right now, share it below in the comments. Say it out loud: "I'm ready to walk into what was always mine." Because fear may walk with you for a while, but it cannot lead. Only your calling can do that. Every heart has its seasons, and Libra, yours may be approaching the edge of something quietly extraordinary. The kind of shift you don't see coming, not because it's hidden, but because it moves gently, respectfully, until your soul is truly ready to receive it. If you've been focused on growth, healing, realignment, you may not have noticed that love has been circling, watching, waiting. And now, it's moving toward you with surprising clarity. In the tarot, the Hermit represents deep introspection, the kind of solitude that heals rather than isolates. It speaks to the part of you that has withdrawn, not out of fear, but out of the desire to know yourself more truthfully. Then suddenly, the Knight of Swords rushes in, sharp, swift, almost unexpected. This contrast is striking, from stillness to movement, from inner reflection to outer pursuit. It suggests that while you've been doing the inner work, maybe even thinking you're not ready for love someone else has been quietly watching your light grow brighter. And now, they can't ignore it. Sometimes, this person isn't a complete stranger. They may have seen you in passing on social media, in a shared space, in conversation with others. They might have held back, unsure of your availability or focus. But something in your energy has changed. You're more aligned, more centered, more anchored in your own worth. And that shift? That's the signal that now, you're not just open to being loved, you're open to letting it land. There's a beautiful possibility here that this person isn't here to mirror your old patterns. They're not here to trigger wounds you've already worked so hard to heal. Instead, they come carrying the vibration of reassurance, connection, and ease. They arrive not to repeat the past, but to rewrite the story. But even so, I know how tempting it is to be cautious. You may feel a flicker of fear, especially if love in the past came with disappointment, betrayal, or silence. But this is not that. And this person is not them. You've heard it said that we accept the love we think we deserve. But there's more to it than that. According to the law of attraction, love doesn't arrive just because you want it, it arrives because you've made a safe, sacred place for it to land. The moment you stop proving your worth and start honoring it energetically, that's when love begins to move toward you. In this moment, if you're honest with yourself, you may already feel the stirrings of possibility. A name that comes to mind. A face that feels familiar. A warmth you can't explain. Some would call it déjà vu. Others might say it's fate. But perhaps it's simply your inner self recognizing that someone, somewhere, is already aligned with your frequency and just waiting for the timing to match. I once met someone who said she'd prayed not for a person, but for peace, and when she finally found that peace within herself, love arrived without warning. It wasn't fireworks at first. It was presence. Steadiness. And over time, it became the kind of love she didn't even know how to hope for. That's what real connection often feels like, not a storm, but a home. So if a part of you is opening, even slightly, I invite you to affirm it. Say it aloud. Whisper it within. Or write it below as a way to claim your readiness. I open my heart to destined love. Because this kind of love doesn't ask you to change. It asks you to remember who you are and to trust that someone has been waiting to meet you right there. There's something about timing that doesn't always make sense to the mind but feels unmistakably clear to the soul. And Libra, as we approach November 13th, you may begin to sense it too. A subtle stirring, a rising tension in the air, not of chaos but of readiness. A feeling that something is about to shift. Not just around you, but through you. The number 13 in tarot is not a warning, it is a portal. Represented by the Death card, it carries the vibration of deep transformation. Not destruction. Not loss. But the sacred release of what has run its course so something truer, freer, and more aligned can take its place. Think of it this way, every time a door closes, it's not rejection, it's redirection. And the door that is opening for you now may be one you thought had disappeared long ago. It may come disguised as a message you almost deleted. An invitation buried in a thread you hadn't opened in months. A whisper in your intuition that tells you to check something or someone one more time. These are not coincidences. They're coordinates. Ask yourself gently, what are you afraid of right now? Is it failure? Or is it finally getting what you once believed was out of reach? Sometimes, the fear we feel isn't fear of loss, it's fear of expansion. Because when the life you've been waiting for begins to unfold, the first emotion is often not joy, but disbelief. It feels too big, too sudden, too much. And yet, it's here. On November 13th, a divine window opens, one that doesn't require you to be perfect, just willing. Willing to believe that the timing is not random. That the opportunity, the reconnection, the dream, or even the disruption is arriving not to test you, but to move you forward. This could look like a surprise message from someone you thought you'd never hear from again, but this time, they speak from a place of clarity. Or maybe it's a new project, a job offer, or a chance to start over in a way that finally feels aligned. For others, it may show up in the quiet of a dream, a symbolic vision, a name, a place, or a phrase that lingers long after waking. Whatever the form, the deeper question remains the same: will you answer the knock? There's a gentle truth I want to offer you, especially if your heart feels hesitant. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to feel fearless. You simply need to trust that the door wouldn't be opening unless you were ready to walk through it. And in the quiet knowing of faith, the kind that doesn't scream but steadies you, remember something sacred, that you are never given a calling greater than your capacity. And no moment of divine alignment arrives late. God's timing may not always match your planning, but it is never off. So if your hands are shaking and your heart is racing, that's okay. Step forward anyway. The gate is open, but it won't stay open forever. And what waits on the other side is not something you have to earn. It's something you've grown into. I'd love to know, what are you feeling as we move toward November 13th? What inner door feels like it's preparing to unlock? Share your truth below. Your words may be the spark someone else needs to step through their own. Because sometimes, all it takes is one voice to say yes to destiny for others to follow. Libra, as we come to the close of this journey together, I want to invite you into a quiet space of reflection. Not with pressure, but with presence. Ask yourself gently, have you truly allowed yourself to believe that what's coming could be bigger, more beautiful, more healing, more liberating than what you've known before? So often, we prepare for disappointment without even realizing it. We lower our expectations to feel protected. But what if this time, protection looks like expansion? What if being brave means simply being open? You see, no tarot reading, no astrological forecast, no cosmic message can shape your destiny unless you choose to meet it halfway. The cards can illuminate the path. The stars can align. But only you can walk through the door. That is your power, Libra, and no one else holds it but you. Today, you've been shown a glimpse not just of possibilities, but of a version of you that is already rising. A version that no longer negotiates her worth, that no longer over-explains his value, that no longer hides behind hesitation. You were not born to play small. You were born to remember, to reclaim, to become. And as you return to your life after this video, I want you to carry this truth with you: nothing real will pass you by. But you must be willing to recognize it when it arrives. Whether that's an unexpected message, a long-awaited opportunity, a soft whisper of clarity in your soul, or a simple moment of courage, you are being invited to respond. Not with perfection, but with honesty. So tell me, Libra, what will you choose? Will you stay in the waiting room of someday? Or will you step across the threshold of right now? If something within you stirred during this reading, even just a quiet yes, I invite you to speak it into the world. Comment below, I receive the gift of November 13th. Let your words be a declaration, a mirror, a ripple into your own timeline. And if this message resonated with you, if it felt like it found you at the exact moment you needed it, I invite you to be part of something greater. Like this video, subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the guidance that's meant for you. Every week, I'll be here, sharing the maps, the signs, the alignment, not just to predict your future, but to empower you to live it on purpose. Thank you truly for showing up today. Your energy, your heart, your presence here matters more than you know. And while I may not know your full story, I know this: you are standing on the edge of something real. And I believe you're ready to step through. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just the first step. And today, that step is yours.